I spoke earlier in the program about how it's been now almost 2 weeks since this, basically anointment of Kamala Harris as the nominee, not formally yet. That'll happen at the convention. The media seems to be going very easy on her. Have they learned any lessons from the way they covered for Joe Biden for so long and then wound up, basically looking at like idiots when they had to turn around and say, oh, no, there was something wrong with this guy? Are they falling into the same pattern of not putting tough questions or trying to demand, press conferences, sit-downs with Kamala Harris, who most of the American people don't really have any introduction to yet?
No, she's been essentially sidelined during this entire Biden administration. She has been very quiet, barely heard from. And you're right, she has not answered more than one question in this entire time. Certainly no sit-down interviews, even a nice friendly interview with MSNBC. Nope, nothing. She is doing absolutely nothing, and they are doing the work for her. And I think that they are not really thinking through this. I have to say, and I've talked to a lot of people in the broader corporate media, some people who are friends and some people who are kind of frenemies. I think they're exhausted by what just happened in July, by that post-debate process of what we all saw on that debate stage of Joe Biden, the truth about his cognitive decline at the end of June, and then the weeks of them, really, the New York Times relentlessly attacking Joe Biden, not in an unfair way, just telling the truth about what's actually happening. All of a sudden, all their notebooks are spilling out there, and it's stressful and it's exhausting. And frankly, it's the side that they mostly support. And it's so now they just feel like, oh, finally, it's not the Joe Biden story anymore. And I think they're just kind of getting a little bit lazy and a little bit complacent right now.
And Steve, finally, before I let you go, I want to ask you about this great piece you wrote in The Hill about the Trump vibe shift after his assassination attempt. And is Trump, in a weird sort of way, actually becoming cool? Tell us about this.
Yeah, I started to think about this a little bit. I mean, listen, the guy got shot in the face. I mean, he literally got shot in the ear, part of the face, and just stood up and started fist pumping. And I watched this interview that Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook, not necessarily the coolest guy in the world, but certainly not a Trump supporter, who was saying it was one of the most badass things he's ever seen in his life. He said, how can you not be proud of America to watch Donald Trump stand up there with the American flag behind him? And then you start looking around. These NFL players, Sauce Gardner, one of the biggest NFL players here in America, saying, that's my president, Donald Trump. He's took a bullet for America, another NFL player saying that. There's something happening here. And I think it's something that is something that is beyond what you can do and what you can manufacture artificially with the media and with the establishment and the elite. You can't fake it. It's just something that's real. And I was at the RNC a couple weeks ago. It felt a little bit like that there also. But look, that's all, friendly side. When you start seeing NFL players, when you start seeing musicians, 50 Cent, getting out there and not necessarily being fully supportive of Donald Trump, but just looking at him in a different way. Man, this guy is kind of cool. Something is actually happening that I think we're not totally have our finger on yet.